Good morning and welcome to the Roadster Roundtable podcast. I am Mark Schaffner.
My name's Victor Vianis.
Glad to have you here, Victor. Sitting in for Pete. You really appreciate the help there.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me again.
Let's start a little bit with the background image that we have. Yesterday we were talking a little bit about Road and Track. Had an article out about 50 new cars, EVs,
Nice.
that would be coming in the next 5 years. And probably my favorite is the one that we have listed here, the new generation Tesla Roadster. Now, I've heard that it's supposed to be out around 2025 or so, but you're saying that maybe not.
No, I got some news. I don't know
Yeah.
if I should let this be released or not, but I submitted an order for a Tesla Roadster,
Okay.
And-
Okay.
and it has arrived. Would you like to see it?
I would love to see that Tesla Roadster,
Oh,
man.
All right. Well, here we go. Here it is.
And that's a limited edition Tesla Roadster, right?
Absolutely. Mine is 162 out of 250.
Wow. Limited edition, even so, Founder Series.
Absolutely. Do we know how many Roadsters will be coming out?
We don't actually. We don't. My hope is that we can go, kind of back to the future on this, put this in the hydrator and let it set for 30 seconds and out comes a Roadster.
Yeah, maybe pour some water on it and hopefully it'll grow into a fully sized one day.
That would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, but I was lucky to find this one at a local grocery store, and I've somehow started a new hobby collecting other EVs.
You have a lot of them there.
And we have the Lucid.
Sure, you have some of those too, right?
I sure do. I've
Yeah.
got myself a Hummer.
Yeah.
And
Oh, the Hummer. Yeah,
There's a Porsche Taycan. Okay,
Porsche.
here's the Hummer.
got the Hummer.
Sweet.
Of course, we got the Tesla Model Y.
Of course.
We got a couple. My girlfriend is ecstatic that I took on a new hobby that's not going to empty out the bank account.
Well, yeah, but years and years ago, my wife got into Beanie Babies with the idea, ostensibly, that it wouldn't end up with emptying out the bank account. And I'm not going to say how many hundreds of dollars later.
Are those still worth anything?
Some of those old Beanie Babies are. I had one Beanie Baby. It was a little crab. It was named Claude. And I gave it to Claude Dixon.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's awesome.
So he has it now. And Claude likes to go out to all the different beaches and around and gather shells and stuff. So he has got quite a shell collection, and I gave him the crab. Then I found out on eBay you can buy the crab for $1,500.
Oh,
So this will fund your new Ram electric?
Well, it would have if I'd have kept them.
wow.
No, my wife is a first grade teacher, so the Beanie Babies actually went to the best possible use. Over the course of a couple of years, they were what her kids got as rewards for good behavior. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, if our viewers have any interesting Hot Wheels,
There you go.
that you have some unique ones, feel free to share. And or does anyone have a Hot Wheel collection that they'd like to go and show us?
Yeah, let's see what we can find out. But there you go, Claude the Crab, $50,000. There you go.
Wow.
I hope it wasn't this color combination because that's what makes it $50,000.
And it's in a cart there. Claude's doesn't look quite like that. That one's just a little bit different.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
So you're telling me there's $50,000 sitting in Claude's office right now?
Hey guys, I'll be right back.
Unfortunately, I wish, but no. Hey, I want to show everybody early on here a picture of two of our favorite fans. They're on vacation right now. If you want to pull that up, Jesse, these guys are sitting back and chilling, and
Oh, look at that dark beer.
I think that's probably Pete with his Hefeweizen. And I know I don't pronounce it probably right.
Definitely
but,
is, yeah.
No, we told Pete that we had some good news. We've got another building we're trying to get built for the Gruber Motors facility, and So things are moving forward. Gave him some good news on that front that they were moving forward. He sent us this picture, and I'm glad that Pete's enjoying himself, and look forward to having him back soon.
Are we able to say what we're moving forward on?
Well, it's a new facility, 21, just down the street.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do. We might be the first ones to do this too. It's gonna be car storage mainly,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to be focused on high-end electric vehicle car storage,
Nice.
especially the Roadsters, where they have to be maintained. And where I'm pretty excited about the whole venture, actually.
I'm really excited.
Yeah,
Having some additional room in the shop for stored vehicles sounds like an awesome idea.
yeah, I'm sure you're excited about that one.
The logistics and the constant playing of Tetris with moving vehicles in and out to be able to service them.
Well, the one thing that in our current shop, we have this beautiful large shop, and we have this gorgeous glass commercial garage door at the front of the shop.
Mm-hmm.
I have never seen that garage door get used because it's always blocked by cars.
Well, those garage doors are special at the moment because anytime those go up, it's because a vehicle is going home.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Oh.
That's definitely pretty nice. So we've got several things up for today.
Mhm.
One of the things I wanted to start with, though, has to do with, again, a Roadster that's for sale on our site. This particular Roadster is one we've talked about a little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's VIN number 3. It's a Founder Series. So I know Pete and I have talked about it a little bit. The reason I want to bring this one up is because this Roadster and Model S, also Founder Series number 3. And if you wanted to bring up the Founders 3 JPEG, there you go.
Beautiful picture.
It's a beautiful picture. These are beautiful cars. They had the unfortunate distinction of being put up for sale on our Roadster matchmaking service just a few days before the China Roadsters were found, and we found out about them.
Oh man.
So the China Roadsters were and are getting all kinds of attention, and they're sucking the attention from some other cars that are equally as stunning, but don't have quite the novel backstory. These are not barn finds,
Right.
But these just again to tell people about them. These cars, which are being sold as a pair, are being sold by the original owner.
Mm-hmm.
The original owner did have the foresight both to ask for cars in as close to the same color as possible. So he started with the red Roadster, and when he got the Model S, he asked for it to be as close in color to the Roadster as possible.
Good match.
And he asked for and received the same VIN number.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Founder Series VIN, if you guys don't remember, are reserved for basically the VIPs, the special investors, family and friends of the founders of the company, stuff, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
When this Roadster came in to us, because I think it came in first, it needed some deferred maintenance.
Yes, absolutely. Like all of our Roadsters that come into.
Yes. Now, you guys completed all the deferred maintenance on it, including a PEM rebuild, right?
Yes, we went through the vehicle entirety. We went and completed annual, includes a PEM cleaning, overall inspection of the vehicle.
Okay.
We had the PEM removed, rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
We got rid of all engineering defects, completely rebuilt the PEM, good for another 10, 15 plus years.
Victor, I'm
Okay.
sorry. Can
Yes.
you stay up on your mic? We're losing you a little bit.
Sorry. There you go. So once again, we completed the annual, which is an annual cleaning and overall inspection of the vehicle.
Yep.
We removed the PEM and did a complete overhaul. We also did all the thermal management system components, the fans, the pumps, the PEM cooling duct.
Okay.
So we completed that as well. And I think one of the last things, it was more of a cosmetic, was we refreshed the
Okay, okay. So, but you kept everything as much as possible OEM.
everything was replaced.
So, like no headlight upgrades.
Correct. No
Yeah.
upgrades that interfere the vehicle's
Collectability.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's one of the first questions that we ask our clients when the vehicle comes in is what kind of work are you wanting to do? What's the plan for the vehicle? Are you going to be an active driver? Is it going to be a daily driver? Is it going to sit as an investment or a collectible item? That way we know what are the proper steps to rebuilding or refreshing the vehicle.
Boy, that's a great point and one I would never have thought about. The not so much that the type of repair we do is going to be different. You know, you refresh a PEM is a refresh PEM, but the things that you might recommend to include in said repair might be different because some things, like for example, brakes, you might restore the original brakes as opposed to
Upgrading to
asking
performance.
them for performance brakes.
Exactly.
Okay. Very, very cool. We've got a couple of comments in. I really encourage you guys, keep the comments coming.
Yeah.
Let us know where you're from as well. I like that. I like when you do that. Pete always likes when you do that. Victor likes when you do that. The guys out here like when you do that.
Yeah, we're here to answer any questions that you might have. Feel free to interrupt us at any time.
Yeah, by all means. And it's the interaction and the question and answers that really make the show go. So love hearing it. So first off, on Instagram, we have PK Vias HTG. Waves, hello.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. On Instagram, they don't get to see that wonderful picture of the Roadster in the back. We have a little different camera for Instagram still. They don't play nice with the platform that we have or all of our other TikTok and YouTube and LinkedIn and YouTube Shorts and Facebook. And I know I'm missing some. Twitter, okay. And I know also after the fact, we take these podcasts, put timestamps on them, and then we upload them to Spotify as well for people who want to either see or listen to them. YouTube, Banana Man also is here. So you have that first comment on YouTube, Banana Man. He says, coming in with the first comment, and he says, hit that like button, boys and girls. Absolutely. That's another one of our frequent contributors, Crunch, says, smash that thumb, guys.
Yeah. If you're watching, go ahead and subscribe. That way you keep updated with all of our new coming posts.
Yeah. See, you catch all the things that I miss, Victor. You're going to have to keep going back.
Oh, no. Pete, are you watching?
So we're the Model S, getting back to the Model S that we were looking at, that VIN, founder's VIN number 3 on the Model S. I do still want to mention, even though I know this is one that we mention every single time, the Model S has some imperfections in it. It has some panels that are
gaps,
misaligned, and some panel gaps. And we had learned after speaking with one of our guests a couple months ago now that the reason for the panel gaps is that the molds that Tesla bought for the first Model S's were steel molds. And when you stamp steel, the steel tends to stay in place better than when you stamp aluminum. Aluminum has a little bit more flex, and it flexes back to its original shape a little bit more.
That explains it.
So when the original few Model S's came out, including this Founder Series one, as a result of the increased flex in aluminum that they did not know about yet, that ends up being an engineering defect, and you have things like panel gaps.
It's VIN number 3, guys. It wasn't perfect.
So I think it was Elon, and then Martin Eberhard, and then this one that rolled across the stage. So we provide the matchmaking service at Gruber Motors for cars like this and for Tesla Roadsters overall.
Right.
It's free. This
Free
is something
charge.
that we want to do for the community. So you can contact us with questions at ev@gruber.com. And if you want any more information on these two really stunning vehicles, please do that.
Mark,
Yes.
We have a couple questions up there. If you could read real quick, and then we have an impromptu answer to the second one.
Okay. Instagram, Ariel Max 2021 says hello. Hi, Ariel.
Nice.
And then Ice V Tech. He has a question for us, and I think Richard's the one that's going to have the answer. The question is Pete back yet? Hey, Pete.
The answer is no. He's not.
No, he's not back quite yet. Pete will be back very soon. I know that we had originally said that he was going to be back in a week, like on August 4th. Officially, that is still the line, although we've heard some comments from Pete that might indicate differently. At this point, we're planning on Pete being back August 4th and joining the podcast back again the following week. I think it would be August, what is that, 9th or 8th or 9th, something like that is the next podcast.
Okay.
So Herbert Buter is back. Good morning. Herbert has contributed before. Herbert is calling in from Dusseldorf in Germany. His Roadster signature VIN 213 from 2010.
Nice.
Always watching our show. Herbert, thank you for dropping in. You know, Pete's over in your neck of the woods. That picture of him and Natalie was taken, I think, up toward the Bavaria region of Germany. But he continues. He says, watching always your show either online or on YouTube, whatever's convenient. Today, he says, I have two questions. First, when you're changing to a new R80 battery pack, what needs to be done on the PEM? Is there some programming, or the components need to change, or is there nothing at all? Do you know the answer to that particular question, Victor?
Yes, I do. When upgrading to the R80 pack, the only thing that is upgraded in the PEM is a board. And it's the PEC board, the PEC board, that is changed or reprogrammed to go ahead and be able to accept and communicate with the new R80 pack.
And is that because the R80 pack is a larger battery pack in terms of kilowatt hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Just overall, the different specs of the new pack and the new cells within the pack.
And so the PEC board is kind of like the communications conduit between the PEM. And other than that, the PEM stays the same then?
The PEM stays the same.
Perfect. Thank you. His second question is that my Roadster is starting, I guess, every day an automatic checkup. I have him plugged in on standard charging. I can hear him most of the time to do this about 6:30 in the evening. Since I have solar power on my roof, I'd like him to do this in midday. Is there any kind of trick or way to set this time for this automatic checkup to be more along the lines of midday as opposed to in the evening?
Mm-hmm. I'm unsure of an automatic checkup. I know that the Roadsters, they run at all times. The PEM fans, the coolant pumps run depending on the climate and temperature that the vehicle is in. I'll have to check on that and get back to that question. I know that we can schedule the charge times.
Okay.
But as far as controlling when the vehicle is running its thermo test, that I'm not unsure if that's even capable of doing.
Hubert, something that might help us to answer this question as well would be if you were to send us a more recent log file. I think Hubert has sent us a log file in the past, and we checked it out, and the car was good. Maybe if you could pull another one of those log files and send it to us, because I'll bet you pretty much anything that happens in the car, we see in the log file.
Absolutely.
And if we can see something like that, something like this, I would think would probably happen on a regular basis. Maybe you could try that. I can't promise anything, but I'm sure that would at least help us.
What I ask customers or clients to do when they hear the vehicle running is jump in, take a look at the VDS screen, and take a look at what the temperatures look like for the PEM, the drive unit, the motor, and that would give us a better idea of, you know, why is the vehicle running? Why is it cooling off? What's getting hot?
Ah, great idea. Great idea. So Hubert, email us, ev@gruber.com. I like your suggestions, Victor. Let's maybe if you can take on some of those suggestions as well, Hubert. He says to you, good info on the R80 PEM changes. Thank you very much.
No problem.
So glad we can help. You know, this is a big reason why we're here, just to give those things, give this information out. I can't read the top letter if it's an F or a T.
It's El Toro.
El Toro 1968 on Instagram says, "Hey guys,
Hey, El Toro.
thanks for joining us, El Toro." We've got an update on an article that we had last week. This has to deal with the MG Cyberster. If you wanted to pull up that MG Cyberster picture, last week we announced that that China would be debuting the MG Cyberster,
Mm-hmm.
and that there, you know, that we would get more information out as it came. But you know, before I get too far into this, I've left myself a note because I forget things. My reputation with my wife is such that I tell her I can remember 3 things most of the time. If you ask me 4 things, either write it down or plan on me forgetting one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger the list, the more I forget. So this is the 3rd item that we had on the list. I've forgotten one of them. So before we bring up the Cyberster, there is a picture of a Roadster wheel that we want to show for just a little bit. And if you could please show us that picture. What we want is for you guys to tell us what's wrong with this picture. We're going to have a follow-up on this in the next, about 10 minutes or so, where we will tell you, but we would like to get your answers. The one who has the best answer is going to get that Model Y that you had over there, the Hot Wheels Model Y.
Right here.
So you will, and please give us... take a good look at that picture because we're not going to have it up for more than another few seconds.
Do they need it zoomed out, or can I zoom in on the wheel? Which part of it?
You can zoom in on the wheel some. That wheel is that's the focus of the picture. So, tell us what's wrong.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Let us know what's wrong with the picture, and first one to get it right, we'll go ahead and send you out this Tesla Model Y that I've collected.
Yes.
Pete's signature on it.
We'll have to see if we can do that.
And please do not put your address in the chat. We do not want you to dox yourself.
We'll talk to that person, have them email us information at ev@gruber.com. So if you can bring up the MG Cyberster now. Last week we had mentioned that the new company from China, SAIC, they own the MG brand, and they had announced a couple of years ago that the MG Cyberster was going to be produced. Last week we mentioned that at the Goodwood Festival of Speed that this car is going to be sold starting in 2024. This week we learned pricing for the Cyberster. And not just approximate, with the actual pricing, at least in China, has been leaked. So get this, guys. In China, the Cyberster, there are 3 models, 3 trim levels. Base model, which includes about a 300 horsepower rear motor and a 64 kilowatt hour battery, 239,800 yuan, which is about $33,350 US. Brand new.
A brand new EV vehicle, convertible,
2-seat Roadster sports vehicle.
for $33,000.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Their mid-level has 2 changes. It has a 77 kilowatt hour battery, and it has a more powerful 348 horsepower electric motor.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. It's $2,000 more. It's $35,440. The top level is a dual motor all-wheel drive vehicle. They took the smaller motor and the larger motor and combined them. They put them both in. Top horsepower due to inefficiencies is still only 560 horse.
Only.
And that's the one that has the sub 3 second 0 to 60 acceleration. Also 77 kilowatt hour battery.
Okay.
37,530.
What? Wait a minute. What's the difference between the base and the performance then?
The base and the performance are about $4,000 difference. The top line performance.
Yeah, sign me up.
I'm thinking I need to go find somebody who lives in China and can get me a car and help me get it through customs. A 2-seater sports car
Mm-hmm.
with a 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds for under $40,000 brand new.
Wow.
Oh, and that's going to have roughly 230 miles of range too.
I was gonna say, what's the range? That's pretty good.
Mhm.
Yeah, for that car, it's about 230 miles, 380 kilometers is what they say. I'm signing up.
What a bargain. Yeah.
Plus, that's really close to that Mazda Candy Apple Red, which is currently my favorite car color. So yeah, I'm all in. Oh, if you want to go in Britain to get it, because these are not listed to be sold in the United States. If you remember that, unfortunately, if you want to go to Britain and get it, you can though.
Okay.
The base model, 55,000 Great Britain pounds, or about $70,460 US.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes any sense.
What's wrong with that picture, right? Yeah, I know. But you can get one in Britain. I assume it would be a right-hand drive, of course, if you go into Britain with it. I don't know if they have a left-hand drive model available. But and unfortunately, that would be the sad part for me. I could go get it from China, get it to customs, and they would say this car is not licensed to be used in the United States, and it would be like, who was it? Bill Gates that had a Ferrari sitting in customs for 6 years or something like that.
Oh, geez.
They just won't let it through. So who knows? Maybe let it set in customs for 13 to 15 years, just like the Roadsters were in China, and then it might be worth some money.
Can it be dismantled and shipped and then reassembled in America?
Ooh, now there's an idea.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. So we have a couple things that have come in as far as comments goes. In this case, I'm gonna start at the bottom and work our way up.
Okay.
YouTube, George from the Watch Rich Rebuilds channel. Good morning. Sorry I'm late. We're going to get back to you in a second, George. YouTube, Hubert Buter, answer to your wheel questions. The logo in the center did not look like it was like his. Seems to be a fake. Great guess, but it's not quite what we were looking for. Brian Riley on LinkedIn, however, I think has it.
All right.
Says, hello from Graviton Motors in Atlanta, Georgia. Not sure from the image, but it sure does seem to be missing the brake caliper. Can you throw that image up there again, Jesse? Brian, you are correct. And we're going to throw that image again up there. The logo is there actually are a couple of slight variations on some of the Tesla logos.
Yes.
We've seen that because
well.
on the caps. So that logo is a legit logo. One thing this car happens to be missing is brake calipers. It would be very hard to stop this car with the type of braking system that it has in place there.
Yesterday, we were pushing it in, and it was so difficult to stop, as a matter of fact, that it ran over my foot.
Ouch.
Those things are not light. I felt that.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. You know, that's we don't want to tell the safety guys there, right?
Oh, no, it was fine. There's no injury. It was just, a nice little hug from the Roadster tire.
Oh, yes.
You mean that it's supposed to have a brake caliper, and we haven't come up with a sophisticated way of just having regen braking, full regen braking?
Yeah. Hey, there we go. You know, my Volvo XC40 has full enough of regen braking that I can come to a full stop. It's one pedal driving.
Nice.
And now that I'm used to it, the first time you test driving it, you're even as an EV driver, take it out for a test drive. You let off the accelerator pedal, and man, it's like bam. My wife looks over at me. Do you know how to drive this thing or not? So, but Brian, if you would please send your address and information to ev@gruber.com, we would be glad to send you the Model Y. Eugenio Duran on LinkedIn also says, impressive display of engineering innovation. And then Lightning Rod has joined us from YouTube. So hello from Thunder Bay, Lightning Rod. Hello, I'm glad to have you in there from that southern part of Canada. Before I go further, we're going to go off script here just a little bit. We had George came in yesterday, and he sent us a little gift, and we were just so impressed with it yesterday that we want to talk about it again. Now, I'll throw this up here briefly, but it's going to probably ketone out. Yeah, see.
Oh man.
So I can put, warning.
There's a white paper behind it.
Nope, doesn't help. So instead, there is a picture in our, we have that picture right there. George sent us these. He happens to be an EV enthusiast as well. He sent us a few of these as a gift. They're stickers. You can actually paste them to somebody's window when they're icing your EV spot.
George sent this to us.
George sent a few of these to them. So I'm gonna come to my office later today, and I'll give you a couple of them.
George, thank you very much. I think I'm gonna send you my personal information because I could use these. I can use these.
Yeah, George sells them on eBay as well. So send them your info.
I feel real strong about the ICE vehicles parking and charging stations. It's.
Well, you live in an apartment complex, right?
Yeah, I drive a Model S. I live in an apartment complex that offers charging stations, free charging. To the residents, and I tend to feel a certain way when I'm pulling in and about to go to a charger to put my vehicle on a charge, and I can't because either there's a non-EV parked in the station, and or there's an EV parked there but not charging.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, guys. Let's help each other out. But so these stickers would be very handy.
Oh, I love them. They're amazing. I feel for you. My wife and I were getting a house built a few years back. We had our Kia Soul EV, and we had from Gruber a Tesla EV that we drive. Somebody moved into the apartment complex and decided that their Model 3 belonged in the charging station parking spot. So most of the time, that's where they were parked. They never charged there. They never. I don't know that I ever saw them there. I ended up complaining to the point. The only problem with it, I would have absolutely pulled my Model S right in front of them, blocked them in, and started charging that way. But for two things. Number one, that would have blocked another poor soul who was legitimately parked in a good parking spot. And number two, I would have been blocking the gates so nobody could get in the apartment complex. So I have a feeling I would have been towed before the Model 3 would have.
I've pulled up and I'm like, I would block them if the charge cord would actually reach, but no, I'm always courteous of others, and I'll just wait my turn. And
You know,
And move
here,
on.
little story, again, kind of off script, but here at Gruber, we have 4 charging stations. We have a few people that have Teslas to charge. The company is gracious to provide some of the managers, some of the company cars.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, we'll get somebody who is not in an EV that parks in one of the stations.
Mm-hmm.
I have no hesitation whatsoever about parking in and blocking those cars. None at all. So a couple weeks ago, this happens. Person's parked in a station, in a slot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a 100, a 100D
Mm-hmm.
for my Tesla, so it's a nice one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got the big long range battery. And I pull in, I have like 220, 230 miles of range, so it's not a big deal. But then I see the ICE car in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm gonna get him. This guy, he's a nice guy. Okay, I like him a lot personally,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm irked because I know who it is, and I'm thinking, okay, this person leaves earlier than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna block him in, and I'm gonna make him come see me.
Right.
So I don't know how he got out.
Oh, he actually made it out
wiggled
around
in and
you.
out.
He wiggled his way out. Richard's car was on one side. My
Mhm.
car was blocking him in the other. I mean, you could have taken a tape measure, and I'll bet there wasn't 6 feet between the two of our cars.
Mm-hmm.
And this vehicle had to have been 5 feet 9 inches or something like that.
Mhm.
I don't know how he got out, but he got out. He got out. That security camera footage, one of our managers was kind enough to look up the security camera footage, and he said, yeah, he had a problem getting out. But then I'm like, good, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a handicap. You just don't do it.
So, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Mhm.
It really
Same.
is. So,
Anyone else? Anyone? Obviously,
yeah.
George
So
feels the same way.
the stickers are great.
It makes me feel better that I'm not the only one that feels a certain way.
Yes.
You know, Mark, I noticed that as well. I think we're thinking about the same individual that was parking there. You know, and when I parked next to him, I was like, why, dude? I was like, this isn't an EV, you know, but then I stepped out of the car and it was 120 out.
Mm.
And then I
Yeah.
walked and I saw a full parking lot, and I walked around the corner, I saw a full street, and I was like, you know, I get it. I wouldn't park there with my F-150. It's probably not the right decision to make, but I get it, you know?
Well, and to your point, Richard, I get it too. You are exactly right. The reason I was looking for an EV parking spot, first, I do live far enough away from work that I try to charge whenever I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's not often that I'm actually at a full charge. If I do get to a full charge, I'll either pull out or I'll just have a half a day. But there was no
Mark,
parking.
You're justified
Mhm.
in that. It's the parking wars. You got to fight the ice wherever
Yeah.
you can.
Peace, Jesse, peace. We're working towards peace,
Yeah,
Jesse.
supercharging stations aren't that better either.
No, they're not. They're not. And-
Speaking of which, how viral did that TikTok go of that guy laying down
Oh
at
my
the
God.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Max,
Mhm.
who's over in Europe with
Mhm.
Pete. He posted a TikTok of somebody laying down in front of a charging stall at
Wow.
a supercharger. I think that got us like 1 million views on TikTok or something. It was crazy.
Dang.
Something like that. I'll have
That's
to check.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was funny though. Because we saw it and we were like, Max, why did you have somebody lay down to stage something? First off, it wasn't Max. It wasn't even Max. It was one of our other former social media guys, Aaron, and it wasn't staged. This man literally laid down in the charging space to prevent anybody else from getting in until he could figure out a way to get his Model 3, which had died,
Mm-hmm.
into that space.
It died right in front of the
Uh-huh.
space, basically.
This wasn't here in Arizona, right?
This was at the Biltmore
Yeah, Biltmore
During summertime.
during the summertime.
recently, yeah.
Oh, that's
I'd-
hilarious.
If I saw someone laying down in the spot, I'd be concerned if they're okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, with the temperatures we've had here in Arizona, you can get second or even third degree burns if you are on pavement for too long. That's how hot the pavement's getting here. So
I'd wait. I'd be like, give it a minute. He's gonna burn. He's gonna get up.
yeah.
You'd hope. You'd hope, but
you'd
it looked
hope.
like he stayed there for a little while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
supercharging stations, they can get pretty crazy. I had one gentleman yell at me for supposedly taking his spot, and I
There we go.
more than happy. We moved out of his spot and said, "Go ahead, take it. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
I'll wait an
that's-
extra 5 minutes."
I'll try and pull it up so that the audience can see it. That's just for you guys.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's insane.
Two
That's
point
insane.
6 million views.
2.6 million views. So a guy, yeah, somebody asking about it.
He's just chilling.
Are you
Yeah,
alright,
see if
buddy?
you can pull that. See if
Yeah,
you can pull
just-
that up at some point.
This is reserving my spot.
So we have. Let's get our comments back because I can see we're kind of getting backed up on questions and stuff. George from the Watch Rich Rebuilds channel. I will gladly plug that on occasion. George. He says, I got my Gruber 12-volt battery from you guys this morning. See, we that's one of the things we do. We will sell the Tesla Model S 12-volt batteries. He says it took less than 20 minutes to install. That's why I'm late. Looks like a good-looking battery. Thanks, guys. So thank you, George, for the feedback there. Glad that everything got over to you just fine.
Less than 20 minutes to install a 12-volt battery on his
Model S
Model
2014.
S. Good job.
So I'm impressed, actually.
yeah. We're hiring.
Yeah. George says, hey, Lightning Rod with Wave. Lightning Rod, likewise. Hey, George. Good to see you, friend. So for Brian Riley, he'll send his information to us. Cool, he says. Carlos Pardo. And
Saludos de Mexico.
thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome. Vishwas Nevada on Instagram. Hi, team. He says, great work. Keep going.
Thank you.
And
Much
the
appreciated.
so then George comes back and says, if you put one of my stickers on this guy's car that parks in Mark's spot, please don't give him my contact info. Oh,
All right, I got that video for TikTok.
yeah. Let's take a quick look at that. That is that's crazy. We'll see if
I wonder what he said. And it's like, are you okay, buddy? Oh, yeah, just reserving a spot.
the one good thing I can see about this, it looks like it's not the middle of the day there. It's either going to be in the early morning or in the late evening. And you can see there's his Model 3 right there, and he's got a Model S next to it that was backing in. That Model 3,
Wow.
wow.
No
Parking
comment.
wars, man. Charging wars.
Parking wars, yeah. Sounds like a reality show.
Yes. Well, let's get into what we were talking about with that wheel. That wheel did not have a brake caliper for a really good reason.
Right.
You know, that one of the things that we do at Gruber Motors is we work hard to keep the Generation 1 Roadsters going. We develop processes and we have performance upgrades. In some cases, we'll do rebuilds though of the braking system.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a brand new process that we have for repairing and restoring the braking system and the brake calipers on Roadster. It's new enough that we don't even have this on our website yet.
Right.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that? And while you're doing that, maybe Jesse can pull up and thanks for pulling up the wheel picture, and then you can pull up Caliper 1.
Yeah. So this client of ours was on our website and saw that we offered a service to paint calipers red, green, orange, whatever color you'd like. And we offer this service on our website. It's $6.95. We can do it here in-house, or like this customer, he reached out, removed his calipers, and sent them to us.
Okay.
When we received the calipers, we began the degreasing and cleaning process. That way we can go ahead and paint them.
Sure.
While we were cleaning, it kind of came to my mind is why are we painting them? Why are we not powder coating them?
And what would powder coating do as opposed to paint on brakes?
Well,
Calipers.
if you're going to be cleaning out your brakes, if you're using any type of degreaser, brake cleaner, any type of chemicals, you'll potentially damage the paint on the calipers. They'll dull out and start to chip away. Versus if it's powder coated, it's a sealed product. There's no chemical that will potentially damage the powder coating.
Sure, because I know that powder coating is it's a much more robust painting style. The paint is actually heated and baked on, so it can't chip. It won't chip and peel off nearly as easily.
So we reached out to the customer and decided to go ahead and try something new. We went ahead and completely disassembled the brake caliper. We sourced new caliper rebuild kits. So we are now starting to remove, clean, disassemble, powder coat, rebuild, and install. Something that we weren't doing in the past. We were simply just painting the calipers, and now we're going to be not only rebuilding and powder coating, or powder coating and rebuilding.
Okay. So the powder coating will last a lot longer. It's a much higher quality paint. The rebuild, why did we not do rebuilds before? Is it that we didn't think about it or some other reason?
Really, we were only going for the cosmetic aspect, so it was just paint. The caliper didn't necessarily ever need to be removed. So
I see. Okay.
So now that we are removing them, we're going to go ahead and start rebuilding and powder coating.
Well, that's pretty cool, because rebuilding them, that's going to really, it restarts the life cycle on these whole things. So
Absolutely.
You've got 10 to 15-year-old brake calipers. Once the rebuild is done, I assume that any seals or anything like that would wear out over time are being replaced. So it kind of resets the clock on those.
Yep, complete rebuild, seals, slides, bushings, dust boots, new bleeder screws. It's completely overhauled.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay,
Pretty exciting. Yeah, I'm ready to start offering this service on our website here
by
fairly
all
soon.
means. Oh, by all means. Have we since this is so new, I'm not even sure. Have we decided a final price for this this level 2 rebuild?
No, not yet. We're still accounting for material and time.
Okay.
We have just installed our first set that has been rebuilt, and we'll go ahead and do some Q&A, and if all goes well, then we'll go and start doing this moving forward on every vehicle that will like
So
either red calipers, or if they want to rebuild the calipers.
Sure. That makes total sense. And I assume that with this first test, it involves, some slow driving with good braking and all that fun stuff too.
Gotta make sure they work.
So, let's. I want to first get back to Brian Riley, who's given us another comment. He says, "Hey guys, the email address failed. Can you tell me again?" So it's E like Edward, V like Victor, at Gruber. It's going to be GRUBER.com. So it's electric vehicle at Gruber.com, and it's just the initials. So why don't you try that again, Brian, and let us know. George is back as well. He said, "I would have put one of those stickers on that guy's forehead." Now, did you notice that guy had a telephone sitting in front of him? I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he was texting somebody or something. I mean, putting a sticker on the front of the telephone might have worked as well.
I don't know. I would have backed up really slowly. I don't know.
Yeah. YouTube Exploration says, "I was going to say, for $700, they better be powder coated."
Yeah, moving forward, they will be not only powder coated, but completely rebuilt.
Yeah, definitely. That's I'm excited about that. That's that's an incredibly cool new thing that we can offer, and especially for people that might want to have their OEM level Roadsters restored. That's a great restoration thing that can be added to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not only the brake caliper, the brake system will also be flushed.
Okay, so the brake
So
system
it's
would be flushed and bled
complete
as well.
brakes, yeah.
Sure. Okay. George has another question for us that you might know the answer to, Victor. He says, do you guys know where to get the 2012 to 2016 Model S Brembo electric parking brake stainless steel pad clips for cheap? Because I get mine from China. I was selling my upgraded red powder-coated e-brake calipers on eBay years ago and was getting $400 a pair for those.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where a good place would be?
What are we calling cheap? And I might, if you'd like to go ahead and email us at ev@gruber.com, and we'll go ahead and
do that. And
verify.
George has emailed Pete and I directly as well at times. So if we needed, we could just email one of us if EV gets to Victor. So that's the best way to go.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can email Pete or myself.
Yeah. And
we'll get it forwarded to Victor. Next thing we've got, there's a couple more things on the list I wanted to get through today. We talk a lot about capacitors over time. We talk about the electrolytic capacitors that are in PEMs and them blowing up and what happens. And although at the risk of getting a little technical, I thought, let's bring one in. This is an electrolytic capacitor. Now, to give you a little bit of a size comparison, here's an alkaline battery, size C. Put them next to each other, you'll see the alkaline battery. It's the little energizer battery. It's about 1/8 of an inch smaller diameter. This is it's a little bit smaller diameter. This capacitor is probably about the size of an alkaline D cell. And unfortunately, I didn't have one to bring today. I thought about it after I got here. You know how that goes. Me forgetting things. This was number 4 on my list. Yes. These capacitors, there are 21 of these in a PEM. And when we do PEM upgrade, is it all levels of PEM upgrades that get these replaced? Or is it just the 1.5 and level 2 PEM upgrades that get these replaced?
The 1.5 and 2 have the caps replaced.
Have the caps replaced. Yeah. We recommend this, highly, highly recommend this. An electrolytic capacitor is like a battery. A battery has an anode, it has a cathode, and it has electrolyte where the electrons pass through. And it's the passing of the electricity from the anode to the cathode that allows a battery to store energy. Capacitors are the same way. They have an anode side. One of these sides here, we'll say this one, is the anode. One side is the cathode, and there's electrolyte inside of here. Over time, just like a battery, those will go bad.
Right.
The electrolyte in a capacitor tends to be more of an oil type of substance, and that oil will tend to dry out over time.
So they have a shelf life.
Yeah, they definitely have a shelf life. So here's a few questions that I had either thought of or looked up when it comes to caps, and why they're important. First, the question was, does a capacitor age even if it's not used?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
It does.
It's just like a battery. In fact, caps, electrolytic caps especially, might age more without use than they will with use.
That's interesting, but it makes sense.
Sure, that electrolyte, it gets kind of jelly-like, and then it starts to dry out. And if the cap is being used, that electrolyte is actually kind of flowing in between the aluminum plates.
Right.
So kind of makes sense. But yeah, so these caps, they will dry out. They will go bad over time, whether or not they're used. And there is some debate out there in the tech head community about whether or not they dry out more quickly if they're not used than if they are. That was a surprise to me. I figured that they would dry out, but I figured it'd be more slowly or something like that. And the consensus is no, it's probably faster.
Okay.
Now, have you ever heard of a cap being refreshed?
No, I was going to ask if those can, do they just, one day they work and one day they don't? Can they be refreshed? What?
There is a type of capacitor that can be refreshed.
Hmm.
The process is pretty simple. You take the cap off of whatever it's connected to. You stick it in an oven at about 300 degrees for a couple hours, and when you pull it out, it's better. It's like new, but not electrolytic caps. These are
Not all caps.
Not all caps are that way. There is such a thing as a ceramic capacitor.
Mm-hmm.
And a ceramic capacitor is to an electrolytic capacitor what a solid state battery would be to a standard lithium ion battery.
Okay.
So the standard battery has a liquid electrolyte. A solid state battery obviously has a solid one. Ceramic batteries are kind of like the solid state ones. They can be refreshed. They'll
Okay.
go bad over time and so on. But the heating process will basically restore the ceramic electrolyte inside of those ceramic capacitors. They do still have a limited lifespan. They will eventually wear out, but they can be refreshed.
Okay.
These cannot.
Mm.
Again, that was something new. I didn't know. I thought, oh, of course not.
And are they interchangeable with ceramic and non-ceramic?
I don't know. That one's going to be a question probably for somebody like our chief engineer, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to very tentatively say I don't think they can, but I because of the properties of the capacitors themselves, that's a good question though.
Mm-hmm.
Does heat affect caps?
Absolutely. Especially if they're oil filled.
Yeah, especially if they're oil filled. That's right. They definitely can be. Just like batteries, heat kills capacitors. It shortens the life of them. In fact, this is one of the main reasons that we have the services that we have for cooling the PEM.
Mm-hmm.
Because the caps, the 21 caps that sit on that PEM, are one of the primary things that you have on a PEM that need to be cooled.
Generate heat.
Yeah, they generate a lot of heat. You recommend, we recommend when you go through a 1.5 PEM rebuild
Mm-hmm.
or a 2.0 level PEM rebuild, that's our most extensive one, that we replace the caps. Why?
Right. Because like you mentioned, they have a shelf life whether or not the vehicle's being used. And a lot of clients that we have further questions in regards to if or not the caps need to be replaced. You know, my car's been sitting in the garage. I don't use it often. Why would it need caps to be replaced? Well, for one, like you mentioned, it has a shelf life, and two, even if the vehicles aren't being driven, the vehicles are running at all times. They're charging. The fans and pumps are running to keep the vehicle, the PEM and battery at an operating temperature. So, yeah, even if the vehicle's sitting pretty in a garage, there's still internal components that are working on a daily basis.
That's a great point that you brought up there, and that's something I had not thought of before now. Even if the Roadster's just plugged in the garage on its charger, there is electricity going through that PEM, which means these caps are being used.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why would we never recommend to replace anything except for all 21? I know I stumped you probably a little bit there. I'll tell you what, I will read the answer to that particular one and draw upon a little bit of our experience from Gruber Power Services for that.
Okay.
An old cap is a time bomb. And the PEM itself contains obviously high voltages and high currents, especially when the car is in use, but even at times when it's not. So an aging capacitor is like a time bomb. Why would I put something that's brand new in with something that's 6 years old when they have an estimated average 8-year life?
Right. It's,
if there's a kind of a small picture, maybe Jesse can, even though it might get a little fuzzy, it's called Blown Caps Small Image. If you can bring that up, Jesse. Sometimes these caps, when they fail, are like this. That is a Roadster PEM with failed caps. Sometimes they're like that. The person who had these cap failures is lucky. Sometimes when they fail, they are, for lack of a better way of saying it, spectacular and catastrophic. And an example of a spectacular and catastrophic failure goes back to our time with Gruber Power Services. See, we've mentioned before, a car is like a UPS on wheels. You bring AC power into the car through an inversion process, convert it to DC power, move that power to a battery bank where it gets stored. When the power is needed, the power comes out of the battery bank, gets converted back into alternating current, and then goes out. And the only difference between a car and a UPS is when the power goes out, it goes to some sort of a wall panel instead of to an electric motor.
Right.
Everything else is exactly the same, including the fact that UPSs have caps. Now, this is several years ago. We had a GPS customer have a cap failure in the UPS. It happened overnight. The bank of caps that were in that UPS failed spectacularly. And the reason that we know that it failed spectacularly is that the building burned to the ground.
Wow.
The caps failed, the UPS caught fire, the building caught fire, the data center burned to the ground, all because of caps failing. In a Roadster, this is even more important than losing a PEM. If this little D-cell battery failed spectacularly in a PEM, you could kill your PEM.
Yeah, because you have components next to it that it's going to take out.
Yes.
I'm not going alone. I'm taking people with me.
That's right. It's these are the suicide bombers of the car almost. You know, they when they go and they do sometimes go in a big explosion, they're going to take out everything around them. And that's a problem because you can't go down to Tesla and say, "Oh, I blew up my PEM. Can I go get a new one?" They don't have them anymore.
Yeah, you have a different problem now. Not only do you need caps, now you need PEM parts.
Yeah, you need
don't
your,
exist.
you need your IGBT board or your PEC board or any number of other things that have failed, and there may be cascading failures. A blown cap causes something else to fail, which causes something else to fail. And you're stuck without a PEM, which means you're stuck without a car because PEMs they're not manufactured anymore.
And it's the thing that the cap will blow and possibly blow things around it, but that I believe has some type of metal casing, correct? So
it does.
It's like shrapnel, and if metal lands on other electrical components, then we're now having shorts.
Yes, those if it lands on a high voltage, high amperage
Bus bar
electrical component like a bus bar, it instantaneously welds itself between those two components, and you have an electrical short. It's So they're very bad. That's why we so highly recommend these to be replaced. In fact, so much so that a lot of this information came from a newsletter that we put out on the Gruber Motors site all the way back in September of 2017.
Nice.
So we do have, if you want more detailed information about this, Pete is the one that helped put together this particular newsletter. And other than the fact that I noticed not 15 minutes before we came to sit down here that the newsletter says PEMs have 19 capacitors. Actually, no, they don't. They have 21.
Yep.
But other
7 per board.
Other than that, we'll make that tweak to the newsletter. It's on point. It's exactly on point. And you can go to the Gruber Motors website. You can go into the newsletters area, and if you scroll near the bottom of it, on September 1st of 2017, Pete put out a really, really good newsletter about capacitor failure and PEMs and what kind of consequences there could be.
Good.
So, hey, we've got a couple more questions, and then I think we'll be about ready to wrap things up. George, first had an answer for you.
$33.
$33. E-brake clip from China. Says thanks, Victor.
No problem. Talk to you soon.
Another question for you from George. What fuse do we swear by for our Teslas? What do you know? Do the guys have a preference for what kind of fuses that they use?
No, I don't think so.
I know Bussman is a great brand. George says he loves Bussman.
Bussman is what I think we carry in stock.
We can check into it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can check into that. I think Bussman is the one that we carry in stock. They're
The white
just
and blue.
yeah, they're a great brand. They're a great brand. And then George has yet one more question, and this one's probably for you, Victor. Is there a way to use the newer 12-volt lithium batteries from a newer Model 3, Y or S or X, in the older models, bypassing the communication part on that battery?
That's not something that we've done, but thank you for the question, and I'll definitely go ahead and look into it.
You can look into that one. I'd be interested to hear the answer to that too. It's the 12-volt batteries that we sell are made by a very well-known major manufacturer of batteries. In fact, I can't say that I know this for certain, but I think we are going to the same manufacturer that actually makes the batteries for Tesla.
Okay.
So I think they are simply Gruber labeled as opposed to Tesla labeled,
Right.
but they're coming from the same spot. There are a number of these manufacturers that are making lithium-ion batteries now for in UPS or stationary power applications, including 12-volt, 33 amp hour batteries that may fit in a Tesla application that are not Tesla lithium-ion batteries. So
Okay.
we'll have to look at that. We don't know for sure. So, thank you guys. Is there anything you want to add before we close on this?
Any questions, concerns that you guys have, any way that we can go and help, please feel free to reach out at ev@gruber.com. And for anyone that's watching now and not subscribed, please hit that like button, subscribe down below. That way you can continue watching us on a weekly basis.
By all means. There is one more thing I want to get to, and if Jesse can pull up, not in the images file, but the driving in the rain picture. It's another one of our one of our Mid-Journey generated AI pictures. It's a 2010, right, Jesse? 2010 Tesla Roadster.
Yeah.
Driving in the rain?
2010 Tesla Roadster driving in the rain.
Not in Arizona, because that doesn't happen here.
Well, no. But I both love the picture, and as per AI, I like to pick on Mid-Journey a little bit.
Those lines look so aggressive, and the hood veins, did AI finally get it right?
I think it might have finally gotten it right, although
It's been hearing us.
on the right side there's two hood veins, and they kind of blend as you get to the left side into just one hood vein. So I'm not sure of that, but the biggest thing that I happen to see, besides the fact that it's a Tesla that's supposed to be moving forward and you have splashing coming forward from the car.
I see that now.
Where's the driver? It's driving. Where's the driver?
Self-driven.
Is this one of those Waymo Teslas?
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's pouring rain and the roof is open.
Yes. That's another huge one. And if it's pouring rain in a wet road, where's the rain on the windshield?
No headlights on either.
It doesn't.
You're just moving too fast for the rain to stay on, Mark.
I guess.
It has no windshield wiper because it's clearing the rain by air-powered nozzle. How about that?
There we go. And I think there might be a couple more headlight LEDs in there than what the Roadster has, because this one happens to have 5. But that's I have to admit though, the overall look and picture and feel of this particular picture, which I think is the one we're going to use for the front of the podcast, I love it. That's a beautiful picture.
Beautiful car.
Aesthetically, to me, it looks more like a Corvette than a Roadster in this case, just because of the way the aggressive lines are. But aesthetically, it is absolutely a beautiful picture.
And that spoiler in the back.
Oh yes, that actual spoiler on the back. So it looks like we have just a couple more quick questions that came in, or one more quick question. Ramnath R says, on a 21 Tesla Model S Plaid, what would cause the error pyro and shunt Mia error? That I'm not too sure of.
It's really, at times it's difficult to diagnose a vehicle without having the vehicle here and taking a look at the codes that are populating on the MCU. So it's difficult to answer, but I do know that the pyro fuse has multiple links within the component.
Okay.
And after several or heavy amp draws, it tends to break small links within the fuse to bring it to a certain point where it's no longer
Okay.
functioning,
Okay. So that
making proper contact.
So, are you saying the possibility of somebody trying to do a bunch of ludicrous style starts could actually put extra load on the fuse?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. And so that's one possibility.
One
for it.
possibility that comes to mind, but without having the vehicle here or knowing the additional codes, it's a little difficult to say. But shoot those codes to us at ev@gruber.com and we'll take a look.
Yeah, thank you, Victor. Another couple of comments I have from George on Rich Rebuild's channel. He said to me first, he said, "Hey, where's that XL Gruber T-shirt? It didn't come in with my battery box today." Just kidding.
Soon to come.
Yeah, soon to come. I think George is going to be in town. We'll have to see if we can hook him up with something. Also said, thank you guys for another fun and educational show. Peter Paul Heese on Instagram asked one of my favorite questions. Why the sunglasses?
Why the sunglasses?
Why the sunglasses? The first thing that I'll say, and this is what Pete will say frequently, you might not really get a good answer until you try it. At some point, Pete has promised to put together a video that talks about why we have the sunglasses. There have been all kinds of theories, everything from we're aliens to we're AI, part of the Matrix, to we're drunk, to we're on drugs, to we're really not awake, we're sleeping.
I got a lazy eye, guys. I'm insecure about it. Okay, that's that's just the beginning of all the different theories we've gotten, and so we have a lot of fun with it. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. But yeah, at some point, I know that Pete is working with the social media guys on a video about the sunglasses, and in that video we will tell all. So with that, I think that's all the questions that we have. Looks like we're at a good time on the podcast. Victor, thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for having me. It was a
appreciate
pleasure.
you. Appreciate having you on. Love the technical knowledge that you help bring to this and to the Roadster community and everything that you guys over at Gruber Motors do.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being on the show today. For the comments, for the questions, the interaction. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it's that interaction that makes this show run. It's a lot of fun to do, and we couldn't do it without you. With that, we will be here tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight or Mountain Standard Time, and then again this next week on Tuesday. Look forward to seeing you then, and take care.
Stay safe. Ciao.